Thank you everybody for coming, and sorry to everybody outside who couldn't make it in. It's actually sort of a strange circumstance. We had this set for a completely different location, and at the last minute we weren't able to do it at that location, and now we're here, and I think it's probably better here. I'm glad we made it out outside of town a bit. It's a little bit, I would say, more intimate, but there's quite a few people here. For those of you who, I guess I'll say this for those of you who don't know me, because I'm sure maybe there's people that might be listening or watching that have no idea who I am. They just decided to come because they thought it would be a cool thing to do. Somebody famous is in town. My name is Sashi Gray, and I started doing adult films when I was 18 years old. I started researching the adult film industry when I was 17. I had graduated college, graduated high school and went to college and started working full-time. And I was interested in adult films because I grew up Catholic, and I had a mother who told me that sex was reserved for marriage, and I had a father and an older brother who told me that boys will only use you for your sex. So I had two very different conflicting ideas of sexuality, a very traditional view and a view that was more realistic, especially in the generation that, looking around, most of you seem to be my age or slightly younger or slightly older. And to maybe have a more cynical point of view allows you to be a bit stronger in the real world, especially with a strong male figure, especially giving you the truth, instead of trying to sugarcoat the world and the way things are, because we don't live in a fairy tale. No girl is ever going to be Cinderella. And I think it's important to share and teach young women that yes, you should get what you deserve, and you should be with the person who respects you, but also be independent and be proud of yourself. Don't rely on this ideal of being a mother and being the woman stuck in the house doing everything for her man. You know, find something that's passionate for you, but I don't want to be completely biased, because there are people that motherhood is their life and their well-being, and that's what makes them happy, and that's great as well. But for people like myself, I sought out doing adult films because I liked watching porn, like probably everybody in this room does. But I also felt like there was a phone ringing, and that distracted me. I felt like there was something missing from adult films. Of course, I get pleasure watching them. That's why everybody watches it. But I felt like there was something mentally missing. There is no mental stimulation when I watch a film, and that doesn't mean I want to watch some epic, like, porn version of Titanic. That's not, you know, we're not here to watch a 2-hour movie. We're here to just get what we came for and be done. But I still think there's a way to inject your audience with more stimulation rather than just physical, and to leave a lasting impression, even if that video is only being watched for 5 minutes. Excuse me. if it's only being watched for 5 minutes. I still think, you know, maybe 30 seconds is all you need to leave a mark or an impression on somebody. So while getting into adult films, I wanted to challenge the structure. I wanted to challenge the way this business was set up. And you can't change anything overnight. So I decided that the best way to change this structure was by using the physical, by using my body as the art, as my, you know, as my microphone. I use instead of a microphone, I use my body. And I also wanted to challenge the stereotypes of women in adult films, because there's such this cliched stereotype, as we all know, the victim, the person who's addicted to drugs, the woman who's unhappy, who has to fill a void, so she seeks attention by using her body. The blonde bimbo with fake lips, fake face, fake tits. All these things that are the imprint of modern westernized pornography. And I wanted to challenge what I saw. I wanted to bring something different to it. I also wanted to explore areas of my sexuality that most people consider wrong, or things people want to demonize. Desaad may have been completely insane, but when he wrote 120 Days of Sodom, he indirectly started a revolution by one piece of work. He indirectly started a revolution, and that to me is really inspiring. And one of the strongest and most important things he had to say, and obviously this is not word for word, but his idea on human sexuality is that there is no moral. There is no scale of what's good and what's bad. Who in this world is God? Who can judge us and say that sex with your wife is okay, but putting it in her butt is a no-no? And that's obviously not quoting him, but the idea is that human sexuality shouldn't be judged as good or bad. We should all be able to live our lives, and there should not be a label placed on our desires or our sexual interests. And here we are in 2013, and we're still dealing with these same issues. So when I was asked to do this lecture, I was thinking about women in pop culture. I was thinking about the fact that I came into a business that's, at least in terms of the studios and the structure, run by men. The women make the business run, the men put the money into it. I came into a business where I didn't know much about the business. I was interested in the art. But I understood that I was a product, like this water. I am a product. I'm here to be sold. And I understood that, and I was okay with that. So when I was asked to do this lecture, I was thinking about other women in pop culture, singers, actresses, and it's strange, it's really uncomfortable for me to talk about myself in this way, but because of the change I wanted to make, I indirectly became a part of pop culture. I don't know how. A lot of it was luck. A lot of it was hard work and determination, but I didn't have this idea that I was going to become what I'd become, and that's really a stamp in a place, in a generation of pop culture that has really become a melting pot worldwide. I don't understand why I'm so famous in Russia. I really don't. It's really strange, but it's really cool at the same time. And I start to think about my responsibilities. And, you know, I had an objective going into adult films, and I wanted to create this change. And now I see all these people in this room here wanting to listen to what I have to say. And that creates an immense amount of pressure, but it also makes me feel really good. And I wonder how many women in my position relatively the same age as me, that deal with fame and deal with celebrity, and actually on a much larger scale than I do. But maybe they're a singer, maybe they're an actress. What is their responsibility? When they sought out to become a singer, did they imagine that they would be where they are now? Because I could never imagine I would be here right now. And I get worried, because I feel like I have a lot of responsibility now, and I look at some of these pop idols, and I'm condemned for so many things, obviously, but I look at these pop idols and I think to myself, what are they giving back? What are they contributing? Other than a twisted idea of, I should sell myself as a sexual being, but I shouldn't talk about being a sexually strong, empowered, independent woman. So they're selling the image of sexuality, but not actually addressing the issues or even pride, the positive parts of sexuality, the confidence, and your responsibilities in maintaining your health as well. And this leads, that's how I thought I would start and end this lecture, is talking about women and their responsibilities, but it makes me think about a much larger issue, which is just really the state of pop culture, the state of films and music, and the way it's delivered to our audience, because technology is so readily available. That's insane. I have no idea what's going on out there.
This is your fans.
So I start to think about the things that I'm passionate about, and that's largely film and music. And we no longer, I feel like we no longer have artists. We have products. And there was a time where, before I quit porn and I was still just doing that, I wrote, I made some music on the side, but porn was my main career. That's how I made the most of my money. And there was a time where I sincerely thought that I could combine art and commerce. So I could truly make my art, which is what I saw in performing and making adult films, which I actually never did, but I really felt like the world was in front of me. The world was my oyster, and I could create my art and make a living and have it become a product, something sustainable that could go on. And I don't know, call it cynicism, call it being jaded. I don't know if I truly believe in that anymore. We first saw the music industry crash, then porn and traditional cinema at the same time, and obviously a large part of that has to do with piracy. We have, going back to the lack of artists, we don't have people out there that are willing to fight tooth and nail to realize their dream. We don't really have storytellers anymore. And I don't know if anybody read this great article that was presented about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Steven Soderbergh spoke about the state of cinema in San Francisco. And they, you can actually read his speech online, but he talks about the state of cinema, the fact that everything is based on business now. And I think about one of my heroes, Jean-Luc Godard. He would give a studio executive a script and say, yeah, this is what we're shooting, to get his film financed. And he would go off and make a completely different film. I mean, Contempt, the film we have now, Les Mépris, is not the script he turned in to get his film financed. And that spirit, that rock and roll energy, that ethos, whether it be filmmaking or music, has completely died. A large part of the way the film business works is somebody comes, a company starts with the script that maybe they auction from a really talented writer from a really small town that nobody knows, and or conversely from one of the best writers, one of the hottest writers in town, and they look at their numbers, they look at what they're willing to risk and what they're not willing to risk. So oftentimes they take some kid who made one edgy short film in college and they say, let's put him on this and we're going to make him a great director. They market it, they show us trailers, they put the Eminem dressed up, I'm using an Iron Man example, but that's totally the wrong idea. You know, they create a product out of the film before the film's even released. Cinema is not captured in a bottle of water, in a bottle of Coke, in your potato chips that you get for 99 cents. And that really that drags me down, man. That really is, it has ruined art. And again, I keep going back to cinema and music because it's such a fine line now. Everything is based on the commerce. And so studios will take young directors because if the film fails, it's not the studio's fault. It's this artist who really isn't talented. So we're going to blame it on him. While throughout the entire filmmaking process, that person doesn't really have any decision-making skills. Most movies you see in the theater go through a series of tests. I'm sure everybody in this room has seen Hangover.
Yes.
At least 95% of the people in this room have probably seen Hangover. It's a great comedy. It's hilarious. It's one of the best comedies in the last 10 years. Call me dark, whatever. I think it would have been great if at the end of the film, the groom was found dead at the top of that hotel. I think that's funny. And I'm sure, you know, I guess I'm sick of happy endings. Life is hard. And that's a prime example. You have a great film like that that has all the right pieces. But they know there's an 80% chance this movie is going to be a huge hit because they did all the right testing. We can't kill off the groom. We can't kill off the main character. Then we don't have a sequel. There goes our business. Then we don't have a trilogy, so we can't make the third film. And conversely, you know, that's testing gone good. I have a friend who's a comedy writer. Has done a lot of film, has written a lot of films you guys have probably all seen. And he wrote a hot script. Everybody in town in Los Angeles was talking about this script. Several studios were fighting actually to get the rights. They wanted to make this film, and that's what you call an in-demand writer. They had the best cast. They decided that, well, I guess I don't want to, you know, give names away, so I'll have to figure out a more clever way to talk about it without ruining it, but, okay. They they cast one of the actors based off the number of his Twitter followers. Okay, they saw that he had 1.5, 2 million Twitter followers. So they figured he'll be great business, because even if we get 1 million of those followers to pay $10 for a movie ticket, we've made our money back. No problem. They made the film. They went into testing. The film tested through the roof. Nobody wanted any reshoots. The film was, on paper, a hit. The film bombed. When the film was released, it bombed. And who got blamed? The director. The man that everybody was talking about 6 months prior hasn't made a film since. And that's the problem. Whether you're talking about film or music, we're all so afraid to take chances anymore, because we're too concerned about, putting food on the table, having a roof over our head. And gone are the days of artists who make music or film because they love it. A lot of people say the audience has a large part to do with it. The audience dictates what's put out into this world. And that's, for a large part, that's really true. But I have a friend named Chelsea. She has a band called Chelsea Wolf. And to me, she's a prime example of one of the last real standing artists. She creates, and I'm not just saying that because she's my friend either. She really goes out and makes music that is dear to her, that means something to her. Not because she's trying to package herself as a pop idol. She doesn't try and present herself a certain way. She only tries to grow and refine herself in the way that makes her feel comfortable. She has all the necessary components in her life and career. She has, she has a manager. She has the label. She goes on tours. But she still maintains that artistic integrity. But how many people in this room have heard of Chelsea Wolf? That's really sad. That's really that brings sorrow to my heart, actually. So that's just another example of the way information spreads. It spreads so fast, and we're no longer interested in quality. And that's where we, the audience, is to be blamed. We're to be blamed for the lack of authenticity. So while maybe earlier or a few weeks ago I was concerned about my responsibility in giving back, but what about the people's responsibility? What do we want to contribute? What do we want to change? And I don't know if any of us have the answer for that. I truly don't. I don't want to be stuck on the past, but I do believe there are still authentic musicians. I still believe there are authentic directors and storytellers out there. But we just have to try a little bit harder to discover those people. And I guess when I think about my responsibility and what I want to give back to my audience and to my fans, I feel like I accomplished a small set of my goals early on in my career before I quit porn. And now that I've quit and transitioned into traditional acting and music, I think it's great that that message that I wanted to spread is still continuing. And that makes me really happy. But I want to continue to give back. And I guess that's why I am passionate about producing now, because I want to give back to other artists, undiscovered artists, who don't have the power of 1 million Twitter followers. I think about filmmakers like this young man named Frankie Latina, who is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and approached my manager to put me in a movie. And naturally, I Googled his name. There wasn't much information about him, other than he did a small independent film with Mark Borchardt and Danny Trejo, whom most people probably know as Machete. And he's in a lot of Robert Rodriguez films. I love Danny Trejo. And I was just excited. Wow, this kid made a film with Danny Trejo. That's really cool. And I grew up watching Danny Trejo as a kid. He's one of my favorite character actors. And I said, okay, well, maybe nobody knows who Frankie Latina is, but his movie looks cool. Send me a copy. I want to see his work. I'm not going to judge him based on the fact that nobody knows who he is. So I watched this little film called Modus Operandi, and it's a throwback exploitation film. And any lover of film can watch this movie and see references to different filmmakers throughout this this short feature. It's not a short and it's not a full-length feature either. And I was really inspired by what he did. He financed this film himself with his own money. He made it over the course of 4.5, 5 years for less than $15,000, which in terms of filmmaking is $1. I mean, it's really nothing. And he cast Danny Trejo by basically sweet-talking Danny's agent. Her name is Gloria. He sent Gloria flowers. He sent her gift certificates for massages, and said, I will do whatever I have to do to get Danny to be in my film, but this is all I can pay him. And it took a lot of time and persuasion on Frankie's part, but he eventually got Danny Trejo to star in his film. There's no 5-star hotels in Milwaukee, so they put him in the nicest, I think it was the Hilton they could. They couldn't find a real car service, so they had real police officers drive with him in his car. And that's passion. I mean, there's this kid from Milwaukee who had nobody there to support him or believe in him, made this little film because he was inspired, because he had to. There was something inside of him that said, I have to make this. And I hope to never lose that feeling, whether I'm acting in a film, whether I'm writing a book, or whether I'm producing a film to help somebody else realize their dream because nobody else believes in them. I guess to wrap it up, I'm going to steal this quote from Peter Sellers, but we live in a society of mediocrity. And that was said long ago. So I guess in this next stage of my life, I hope to give back, and I hope to continue to inspire and help people realize their dreams and bring some of the punk rock ethos and inspiration back in to the world of film, and help people challenge the ideas of what music is, because right now, if you turn on the radio and you listen to a rock station, you can't tell the difference between the rock station and the hip-hop station. It all sounds the same. So, I hope everybody took something from this, a little bit. Sorry. I'd like to thank all my fans, everybody who actually really inspired Дром to bring me out here and participate in this rally. And I feel the love and energy from every one of you. And as many funny jokes as there are to be made on VK and Instagram, those are all good laughs. But I'm glad that at the end of the day, some of this sticks with you guys, and I hope a little bit of it's inspiring. Thank you.